This is Dante Williams, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So the fight is only less than 2 weeks away, and the reports are Erislandy Lara is looking sensational in sparring right now out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'll be headed over there to Lara's camp either Tuesday or Wednesday to get Canelo Alvarez's thoughts and watch him spar live. But the word is so far Erislandy Lara is looking very impressive in sparring with a large variety of sparring partners. In fact, Lara said that my sparring partners are pushing me with numerous styles and I'm adapting to all of them. I told them to come hard and put a lot of pressure on me so that I can prepare for the pressure that Canelo plans to bring. Now, what's interesting is Canelo Alvarez, he was very close to coming out here and training at one of my personal friends' gym, which would have been perfect for me to go ahead and check out both of them working out in the same week. But I would definitely settle for at least watching one of them work out live. But don't get me wrong, sparring does not tell the whole story, because I've watched a lot of people spar. And let me tell you, some fighters are sensational in sparring and then they end up always falling apart when they get into a real fight. You'll be looking at a guy in his actual fight, I mean amateur or pro, and you'll be like, man, he looks nothing like he did in training when he was sparring, right? And then it's vice versa. Then you'll have some guys that will look terrible in sparring, and then as soon as they get in front of them big lights on the stage, all of a sudden they look magnificent. Perfect example, the new junior welterweight champion of the world, Chris Algieri. I had the privilege of watching him spar for a couple of weeks because my son was sparring a kid at Chris Algieri's gym. So we would actually spar after Chris Algieri would spar. And when I was watching Algieri, you have to understand, I didn't really know a whole lot about him, but all I know is what I'm watching in the ring with him sparring. And I can tell you right now, he did not look magnificent in sparring. He looked very, very average in sparring. He was sparring with teenagers and all different types of fighters. And I'm not saying he looked terrible, but he did not look like he was junior welterweight champion material, at least not against someone like a Ruslan Provodnikov. And, and definitely at that time, not against a Manny Pacquiao. But once Chris Algieri got in front of those lights, he looked like a total different fighter. So the point that I'm making is, once again, sparring doesn't tell the whole story, but it does give you a slight gauge of how a fight could possibly play out. Back when I did my Lara versus Canelo breakdown prediction video, I told you guys that a lot of fans are basing this fight on the Lara versus Canelo fight, and they're solely looking at the fact that Lara got knocked down twice. And I told you guys in that video that it's not about you getting knocked down, it's about how you get back up from getting knocked down, right? And I told you that I was extremely impressed with Lara's heart, the way he got back up, the way he came back to get knocked down twice, and I mean not flash knockdowns, knockdowns that usually would knock people out, or at least deter them to where they become psychologically broken down and submissive in some ways. Lara was never deterred in that situation. Lara got knocked down twice by a power puncher, and then he came back and he made that guy quit. That shows a lot of heart, okay? And that's what I talked about. I said that we've seen how Erislandy Lara deals with major adversity like being knocked down for the first time in his professional career. The question is, how does Canelo respond to being knocked down for the very first time? Okay, that's the question. We don't know yet. And what's funny is this is exactly what Erislandy Lara said in the first episode of All Access. He said, we've seen how I respond to being hurt. I already showed that I have a lot of heart. The question is, does Canelo have a lot of heart? How is he going to respond when he gets hurt? That's pretty much what Lara said in All Access, the same thing that I had basically said. Another question is, if Canelo Alvarez were so lucky to hurt Erislandy Lara, will he be able to finish him off? Because remember, Canelo, he hurt Austin Trout pretty bad, but he could not hurt him. And the reason why I'm putting this on Canelo is because Canelo is the power puncher. Because most people believe that as good of a boxer as Erislandy Lara is, eventually Canelo will catch up to him, land something, and the fight will be over. But that's the question. Will the fight be over if Canelo does catch up with Lara and hurts him? Does Lara get back up and fight even harder? Does he pull a Ike Corte versus De La Hoya, where Ike Corte got knocked down in the 6th round, then got back up and knocked down Oscar De La Hoya? I mean, there's a lot of different ways this fight could play out, right? So once again, we'll see, guys. That's pretty much all I got. I'm on to the next one.